can see a fantastic location. One of the originals still up there.
Yeah.
Never changed, so it's absolutely brilliant. Come with me.
You're going to wish you had Steadicam when you watch this back.
So is this like, this is the actual shops here?
Yeah. Obviously, it's you're not going to find it's going to be the same shutters because they would have.
Right, but these were original shops at that
Yeah.
time there. Wow. And this is all original up above.
Yeah. Let me get you something slightly further down the street. Obviously, it's a little on the dark side.
Yeah. So would there be a gas lamp here?
Yep. Yeah, there would have been. Obviously, it's the same lamppost.
Wow.
But and they're old. I think it's 17th century almshouses. These buildings behind you. If you just look down that gate, something I never used to get to see.
That's brilliant, isn't it? This is really good. I need to send you a copy of the video.
Alright.
A Steadicam would be good.
I even know the house those kids live in. They're always playing football.
Well, this is really atmospheric. Well, that's great. We'll click that off.
Okay. Street where you want to be, that all falls apart again.
Oh yeah, that's good, isn't it?
Yeah, unfortunately the car's parked there, but you get a good impression.
Yeah.
See, that's the back of Whitechapel Church over there.
Right, so Charles Dickens used to do public readings in there. Wow.
Now you will find the side that got knocked down mirrored pretty much what was on the other side, and it's by mirroring that and looking at the old maps you can find out where number 29 was.
Right, so 29 is over here somewhere.
Yeah. One thing that's often mistaken is people think, because they see from the later photographs, that number 29 had two doors into it, one into the shop and one into the yard out the back.
Right.
Such as it's got the Kobe Nazrul Centre across the street.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
actually a much later addition. It did actually, in 1888, only have one door. So you see it number 24 across there.
Right. So,
But 29 stood here.
so
Not much to look at today, I grant you. But the doorway would have been about here.
right.
So you see all those great big old pictures with N Brill
Yeah,
hairdresser written
that's the
above it.
classic. Was that Stuart that took them?
Most of them, yeah. Now the Brills had actually been there since.
Well, here we are at the 10 bells, as you can see behind. Which hasn't really changed, has it? Apart from inside, Philip?
Yeah, that's right. Even the interior still holds the same tiles.
Really, these tiles that are straight through there,
Yeah.
they're original.
Yeah.
So if you pan round, see over here. Was that there?
So, yeah, the Spitalfields market.
Wow.
I don't know, probably about 20 million or
So
something.
that's the original, and coming round here, was that street there?
Yeah, Brosfield Street's always been there.
Right, now this is where they demolished the park.
That's right.
Wasn't it? This whole bit's been
Yeah.
demolished here.
Yeah, and rebuilt. The building, the final one of the shutters before the car park, that was where the Britannia pub.
The pub right in the corner. And round here at the
Is
Christ
Spitalfields Church.
Now this must be all just exactly the way it was, yeah?
It's just been refurbished. It's been closed for years.
Has it?
But yeah, but they've just opened it up again. I don't know if you can get in there yet. But that was built by Nicholas Hawksmoor. I think it was 1740s.
Really incredible.
I'll show you Itchy Park as well because it's right next to us here. So I'll just keep this on if you like.
What's this park? What is this?
Itchy Park. Well, all the Dossers. If they were completely homeless,
Yeah.
you know that in the 1880s they weren't allowed to sleep on the street or in doorways. The whole aspect of the police patrolling at night was to move on the Dossers around the area of Wentworth Street and so on.
So this is
So,
it here.
yeah, so they had to keep walking all night, and they would sleep in here during the day. There were a load of park benches,
Right.
and they just spend all day it was basically just like a sea of sleeping tramps would be in here all day, every day.
Wow. And is there still prostitutes that hang about here at night?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, the driver of the coach usually picks me up along here, so turn it off.
Wow.
Pretty rare. Right, I'll be able to show you the exact spot where
Right.
Miller's Court was.
Right, so the Britannia stood here.
Yeah. Britannia was here. The entrance was actually here on the corner of it.
Right.
Okay. Come with me. I'll tell you something else. The shutter's open tonight, so you're actually going to be able to see inside. This is very rare.
Wow.
So you actually be able to see inside. Although it's now under concrete, be able to see the exact spot where Miller's Court was. I'll be able to point it out to you.
Now,
not many people see this.
What about the width of the actual street?
Pretty much the same, but it would have actually probably come out to about here where I'm standing.
Right, you see that line there? Has that got anything, or this line over here?
No.
That's got nothing to do with where the original buildings were?
No.
Right.
No. Fairly sure it hasn't. Where Mary's room would have been, highly unglamorous today. If you look at where the box of sensations is there,
oh yeah,
that was actually the exact spot of 13 Miller's Court.
Really?
Yeah. So if you go about a foot, probably about 2 or 3 feet below those cardboard boxes, that was where Mary Kelly's body was found.
Right.
The entrance, the actual Miller's Court, you've probably seen the photos of it, you know, the archway going on Miller's Court above it. That was right here.
So that was right there.
So this was number 27, number 26, an empty house that John McCarthy used as a storeroom.
Right.
Elizabeth Prater, you know, the woman who lived above Mary Kelly.
Yeah.
Now, people always say she lived at number 20 Miller's Court. She didn't. She lived at number 20, 26 Dorset Street. But because there was only 13 rooms, Mary Kelly lived at 13, the final one. So you can't have a number 20.
Right.
So Elizabeth Prater actually got her access to her room through number 26, and nothing to do with Miller's Court, but she was in the room above. Right. So the building across the road with the to let sign is the building that was the Queen's Head pub.
Right.
I think it's Queen's Head, it might have been Queen's Arms. I've got the details at home. But it was actually on that very corner where George Hutchinson had spoken to Mary Kelly, and she wanted to borrow some money off him, but he didn't have any. And then she walked off, and he saw her meet the man in the Astrakhan coat of shabby genteel appearance. So it's from there that he followed them across the street here and up to Dorset Street, where we've just been. Another angle where number 1 Sports is, that of course was the side of the Britannia. So going off to the left is Dorset Street.
Right.
So they didn't come a great distance, it was really just crossing the street. It wasn't like following them.
Right, so the number would have been...
Yeah, so the number was there. It's 108 to 119 marks on there. And PC Alfred Long at 2:55 AM on the 30th of September. He was drafted in from A Division at Westminster, but he was actually walking up the side of Galston Street.
Right.
As he passed by this building. Just inside here, tucked inside where the shutters are, was half of Edo's apron. Now people often think we're talking about an apron with a little drawstring that just goes to your waist. That wasn't how aprons were then. They didn't come until the 1920s. An apron then would have actually been tied around the waist, but it would have been pinned completely up the front, it would have been held in place with pins. So when we're saying half an apron, we're talking about a length of material, probably about this long, and about this wide. So it's a hefty clump. Right. It's not just a little rag. But that was found down there. Now the walls were painted black in 1888, and it was actually inside on this face where the writing, the Jews are the men that will not be blamed for nothing. Right. And do you think that's got anything to do with it? No, absolutely not. You think it's just graffiti? Yeah. Yeah. Because it doesn't fit in at all. No, that's true. The whole reason it was removed was because Charles Warren didn't want it leaked to the press. Although it was a contradiction, anti-Jewish graffiti, Ripper victims. Because you know for definite that would the Ripper have come from this side? Or? Yeah, the likelihood is it's not a route I'd take on my tour. But he would have come through Stony Lane and then down through New Galston Street, which is the street which I'm pointing out on camera right now. Okay. And then come up here. There is another route he could have taken. He could have come actually through Middlesex Street, and then down Wentworth Street, which is the one we can see there. But that would all depend on what route he took out of Mitre Square. The apron down there then? Yeah, the apron was actually found down in that corner. Gee, and I'm fascinated. This must be the original. Oh yeah. Now you will get a lot of the books and things will say that actually the interior was gutted in 1970. Not true. I've got film of it in the 1980s. It was actually the mid-80s. That's by the mid-80s. I'll just turn this on. Right, so what was the name of this? This was the Frying Pan Inn. And the terracotta plaque at the top, though it's too dark to see it now. It's actually it's marked out and it says the Frying Pan, and it's got 2 crossed frying pans. Wow. And straight down there was Thrall Street. Yeah, that alleyway was Thrall Street. Brilliant. But unfortunately, there's absolutely nothing standing of it now. Right. Angel Alley. Yeah, it's Angel Alley. But I actually want to go and have a look up there. I've never been up here before. Let's say, so for your reference, this is where Mary Ann Connolly came with her soldier at about midnight on the 6th of August 1888, when she split company with Martha Taprem. Realised there was a gate locking it at the end. Obviously it's changed a great deal you don't really get any indication of what it was like. You see how narrow it was.
Yeah.
Right, so this is now Dunthorpe Street, George Yard, the entrance of which Martha Chapman came with it. Clearly that guide had two people with him. They're going for a drink. You will find as well. There we are. Da-da-da-da-da. What a load of bollocks. No way.
Yeah.
Long story.
Yeah.
But there we are, George Chapman. And of course it wouldn't have been George Chapman either, because he poisoned his wives about 15 years later. You don't go from mutilated to poisoning. It doesn't work that. So all this was here at the time.
Right.
Very clear to see. This is it.
Is that to there?
Yeah, buildings came right up to here. It was this narrow going all the way down. It was covered over in part. If we go down into Mitre Square, I'll show where it opened out as well. So this building's different, and of course there were buildings up to here, right up to the 1970s. I think it was the early 80s when they actually destroyed the final parts of the building.
This is really tight.
I'll be able to give you a tour of where all the buildings were in here. I know exactly where the building was. Now, this is deliberate. There was a building on the corner here.
Right.
The pavement came up to about here in front of the building.
Yeah.
So you could see actually where the alleyway opened out. And there was a building here
Right.
as well on the corner. The doorway entrance to it was right here.
Right.
It's very, very unusual to see Mitre Square bereft of people. I
No.
don't think I've ever been in here before, just a couple of us. These are the original cobbles.
Wow.
There's no doubt about that at all. Now, you have to imagine it being very different. There was only 3 dim gas lamps in here in 1888. There was one on the corner there. There was one just about where that sign is, the no parking one.
Yeah.
And there was another one hanging from the top of the building down here.
Right.
So the light that was down in that corner, by the way, was actually on the Mitre Street side. So it would have only shone a little bit of light in the entrance. The only proper light in here was the one that was in that far corner over there.
It was really dark.
Now the buildings we have, the only family that lived in Mitre Square was the family of PC Pierce, and they lived where the brown shutters are going underneath that building over there.
Right.
The warehouse of Williams and Company jutted out at the side there to the edge of the street.
Yeah.
Mr. Taylor's shop, at the back of Mr. Taylor's shop, because the entrance to his shop was actually on Mitre Street. The back of the shop was in this corner.
Right.
There was an empty house over here. This is still known as Ripper's Corner to this day. Horner and Company had a great big warehouse running all the way down this side of Mitre Square, and occupying the far corner over there and going halfway down that side of the street was where Keeley and Tong was.
Right.
Names now get confused because that is now called St James Passage,
Yeah.
and that's called Mitre Passage. It's rechanged its name. Now in 1888 that was called St James Passage,
Oh, right. Right.
and that was Church Passage.
Okay. So
So they change the name. So when we talk about St James Passage, it gets confusing.
the actual murder would be in the corner there.
Yeah,
right?
the actual spot. P.C. Watkins come down here at 1:30 in the morning, found nothing unusual after shining his lantern, walked away again. 1:35, Lavender sees a woman who might have been Eddowes at the top, and then at 1:44 a.m. Watkins comes back into Mitre Square. His beat brings him every 15 minutes, shines his lantern in the corners, and he finds Catherine Eddowes on her back, her head here, feet there, right here.
Right.
Bearing in mind that this was the back of 2 houses here. There was a gate across here that led to a small yard, and there were some houses just beyond that.
Right.
But this is what's known as Ripper's Corner. A lot of people get the wrong location for it. They get it over here or in the flower bed. It was here. In the footsteps of Jack the Ripper.
Footsteps. That's the original cobblestones. Unbelievable. This is all the remains. And the actual site is right here. Incredible.
But this is what came afterwards.
Right, so that wall original. Right, so
Yeah.
the spot was.
So she was actually lying. I think, yeah, her head was here. Her right arm was resting against the gate post. And she's lying straight across here with her feet there. Some people think she was lying half on the street like that, but she wasn't. She was actually across this way. Looking slightly different to 1989.
Just slightly.
Nickels found here.
Here we go, into the 10 bells. Original pillows.
That's original. Why do I feel like a tourist now?
So these tiles over there are original. That's amazing.
Let's go one over there.
Brilliant.
What times are you leaving in the morning?
I've got the 1 o'clock flight.
Plane!
No, esto porque se hace frío. Ahora que tú controlas todo, ¿no?
I found it funny. The only time I ever went out to Glasgow, I used to be the equity councillor for South East England. We had the equity conference. There we are, we're recording now. This is in the footsteps of Jack the Ripper. Or maybe this is original footage. Undiscovered until 2005. Of the killer realising he's left his quarry behind. I'm sorry, this is so shaky. You do realise you can't get out the far side, don't you? Well, you can, but you have to clamber over a wall. Right, well, Miller's Court, just to go backwards there. Yeah.
Entrance would be where?
No, it was up there, just after the fire escape.
The entrance would be here.
I think it would have actually been where the building is now.
Right, so the entrance would be here. Wow. Fantastic.
The general consensus is that where the curb falls away, that marks the position of the room.
Of the room? But
Yeah.
I thought the room was set further back.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was further back, but that was actually where the room would have been.
Oh, right. So this would have been the corner of the room then.
No. No. That's if you go 20 feet back,
That's
then the room would have been, but in that position, but 20 feet further back.
okay. Let's check quickly.
Okay. So I'll turn this off.
What's the name of this place?
This is Artillery Lane. Looking just like it did at the time, but it doesn't have any bearing on the story, unfortunately.
The shops were all here as well.
Yeah.
This would be a gas lab.
Yep.
Look at it.
Yeah. So it's the same original fitting, but obviously converted to lecky.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Original 19th century Victorian music hall entertainment going on in there.
Yeah, but when just take a look down there. That's absolutely magnificent, isn't it?
In a strange way, yeah.